Hey friends, this is Colleen.
And this is Margaret.
And we're the Cousins Weird. And we're on Terrible Trends 51.
Woohoo! Woo-woo!
Nah. I don't know what I'm doing. As per usual, we get right into our episodes here. So you don't have to listen to us yammer on in the beginning of like we do on our normal episode.
Our normal episode, we have lots of banter. It's about 15 minutes worth. Sorry about that.
You can always fast forward if you want to hear it. So, this episode, I'm going to be talking about Ambegris.
Yuck.
And
I know what Ambergris is. It's disgusting.
Ambergris is also called the treasure of the sea or floating gold.
Whoa.
Now, this substance has been adopted for several uses in history. They've made incense, medicines for colds, headaches, to protect people from the plague, even when it was worn around the neck. They believed it was protecting them from the plague. An aphrodesiac in cooking food. King Charles II...
Ew, people ate it?
Oh, yes.
Ew.
King Charles II of Britain would eat it with his eggs.
I'm gonna literally dry heave.
He liked it with his eggs.
Oh.
Recipes using it appeared around 1660. From desserts to decadent dishes. So there was lots of different things. Eastern cultures used it a lot in medicine and spices. Western cultures utilized it to stabilize luxury perfumes. It helps fix the scent to your skin, which increases the staying power of perfume. Plus, it adds depth to the smell.
Mm-hmm.
Higher-end perfumes like Chanel used this ingredient. Now, ambergris is very rare and expensive, and a single gram is worth thousands of dollars to this day. It's like really expensive stuff. It comes from the word ambergris comes from the French Ambegris, which is gray amber. I probably didn't say that right because I'm not French and I can't speak French, but you get the gray amber is what it's named after. Chunks of it are found on beaches around the world. People in history didn't know what it was. Some thought it was some precious stone because it's hard. Others thought it was a type of fruit. Some civilization...
A fruit?
Yes.
Ew.
Because it gets in the water floating for a long time. It gets like shapened and like a stone.
Right.
It's like a stone. They find it like if you find rocks that have been in the water for a while. So some civilizations called it dragon spit. They thought it was from dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Some say remnants from... some had said that was remnants from underwater volcanoes or even seabird poop.
Mm.
The 15th century Encyclopedia of Herbal Medicine said ambergris was either tree sap, sea foam, or a type of fungus. Which I get the fungus, why they would think that.
Right, yeah.
Once you find out what it is.
It's disgusting.
Now, Marco Polo knew Asian sailors would hunt sperm whales for ambergris. But it was thought that the whales swallowed it with their food. So it was already in the ocean and it was part of, like when the whales were eating, they would get ambergris. They'd eat ambergris and then that's why they were hunting them because they knew they ate it. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until the 1800s when whaling was really widespread, they start to realize that ambergris actually comes from the sperm whale and only the sperm whale. And the sperm whale eat thousands of squid at a time, like thousands. Like one time they found it, they had like 20,000 squid in their stomach, a dead sperm, like thousands, like pounds of, because they're huge.
Yes.
Like sperm whale are gigantic. When they realized that ambergris comes from sperm whale, it became known as whale vomit. However, it is not vomit.
No.
Now, scientists think that its production is rare and it happens in 1% of sperm whales. And there's only 350,000 sperm whales in the world at this point. So that's like 3,500 sperm whales. That's not a lot. Like 1% of them. It's only been found in 5% of carcasses. So it's a rare substance. Sperm whales themselves, because they're so big and because they go so deep, a lot surrounding them is shrouded in mystery. Like, It's really hard to study things about the sperm whale. They do know they have their own language. They're very intelligent. They know some things about them, but there's a lot that's mysterious. And ambergris is one of the most mysterious parts of them. And most of the things they say about ambergris is theory, not facts, because they don't really understand how they do it.
Right.
Now, sperm whale, like I said, eat lots of squid. Lots and lots of squid. And squids have beaks. And sperm whales when they eat the squid, typically, they'll vomit up the beak. Sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes the beaks go into their guts. Just a fun fact about whales that I found that, just so you understand how big a sperm whale is. Their heart alone weighs 246 pounds on average.
Holy
just
shit.
The heart.
That's like a man.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a 6 foot tall man.
Or me.
Or whatever,
right.
like their heart alone. So that can be just how big a sperm whale is. Like, it's crazy. That's why they eat so many squid.
Oh my God. They're so big.
Now, sperm whale have 4 stomachs. So like a cow. So there's a process. And normally every few days when they eat any indigestible pieces, they'll literally vomit them up. So there is whale vomit, but ambergris is not that. It's a totally different substance. It looks totally different. You would know the difference between the vomit. It's like a slurry of beaks from a squid coming out on the water. Now, if the beaks make it through all 4 stomachs, and it doesn't happen all the time because they'll puke up out of their stomach, the beaks. They'll get into the intestines of the whale, and this is where they believe the ambergris is formed. It starts to build up and ball up, and it basically becomes a dam in the rectum of the whale. Feces starts to back up, so it's being absorbed into this mass, and then it constipates the whale. So when that happens with all the feces, your body starts sucking the water out of that area. So it's sucking the water away from it. So these bald mass of beaks from the whatever's there, this forms around it, and then it gets like cement-like. So they become like a hard thing. Now, sometimes feces starts to go around it, and gets out. And other times the whale can pass the obstruction in their butt hole. Other times, however, it's fatal. It builds up and then it becomes so big it obstructs the rectum and the poor thing dies. Yeah. So either they are able to expel it or they pass away. And once they pass away and they're out in the middle of the ocean somewhere passed away, they always wash up on shore. Right. A lot of times what happens is sharks, all creatures in the ocean will end up eating parts of the whale. Right. And at one point, the intestines will be torn open and the ambergris will pop out, and then that will wash ashore because it's lighter and it can float around. Right. And the rest of it is basically devoured by sea life. When it's first...
But they don't eat the ambergris. Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah.
Like, that should tell you something. It really should. That's the key thing right there. People ate whale shit.
When first expelled, it is black and viscous.
Ew. Because it's coated with nice fecal matter.
Yeah. The smell, when it's first done, is strong fecal smell and it's stomach churning. Like, real bad. Because you imagine that it's been in there, and it can take years for it to build up big enough for it to kill a whale. So it's been in there this mass has been soaking in fecal matter. Not necessarily is it poop, but it has it's been marinating in poop. Is what, the mass, as it floats through the ocean and goes over, like it's being polished and by the water and floating around, and through oxidation, it goes from black to a lighter color, like a gray or a brown color. It hardens and the smell starts to change. So in 1895, the New York Times described the smell of ambergris that had washed ashore. So it had been floating. Who knows how long in the ocean, how far out the whale was. That it smelled like a blend of new mown hay, damp woodsy fragrance of a fern corpse, and the faintest possible perfume of violet.
A fern copse?
Huh? Corpse.
A corpse?
A fern corpse. Like a fern decaying in the forest.
Oh, okay.
Not a human corpse.
Not a ball of shit.
No. It turns. The smell of the ambergris becomes very alluring. Like, it's like people go crazy about it.
It's like perfume, yeah.
Other descriptions are tobacco, wood in old churches, sandalwood, Brazil nuts.
I don't think I would knowingly smell it if I knew what it was. Knowing where it came from and what it was. I'm like, I can't smell that. It's going to make me puke even because I know what it is.
There was a microbiologist that said it smelt of a leaf-littered forest floor the delicate, frilly underside of mushrooms that grow in damp, shaded places. It makes people speak poems. Poetic. They get poetic about it. Like, the smell is so good.
That is crazy.
Yeah. Now, they will wash ashore anywhere there's a sperm whale. Can be found. And the thing about sperm whales, unlike other whales, is that they are found all through all oceans, all over, except for the very coldest latitudes. So they're found everywhere. Like, other ones stay right where, because they just go all over. And they are big, and they can swim slowly, but it doesn't take long to get from one place to another because of the size of them. A food historian, Sarah Lohman, made attempts to recreate the 17th century recipe for ambergris ice cream.
Oh.
Now, we know that this is poop at this point. Back in the day, it smelled good. Let's try to cook with it. It's probably like a truffle to people, you know?
Yeah.
I can see them using, it was an aphrodesiac in some cultures. But this is a food historian now, and she's like, you take the 17th century recipe for ambergris ice cream. I know it's poop. I know there's poop in this, but that's okay.
Ew.
Now, she made many batches of it to try to perfect it, because she wanted to be as realistic as it's supposed to be.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Because you said that people that were whale hunting found the ambergris inside the whales, but how did they make it the final product when it was in the whale? It was black. How'd they know it was ambergris?
That's a good question. I don't know. They must have dried it out. Oxidation. So once it gets out of the whale, it would start to oxidize, and it would turn into, because they didn't know what it was, so they probably kept it to see what's this? And again, it's very much a mystery. Like, they're guessing this is what happens. Right. They do know it stinks like poop when it first comes out.
Because it's covered in poop.
Because it's covered with poop.
Yeah.
It's marinated in poop. The ambergris itself, when it starts, it's not poop. It's beaks undigested.
It's just strange that something from the ocean, from ocean animals, could smell like grass.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I get the mushroom thing because it looks kind of fungal when you see it. Anyway, this food historian, modern time food historian, decides to recreate the 17th century recipe for ambergris ice cream, which she did many batches. The best batch she made, people were taste testing it. They said it tastes like pleasantly floral and mossy. The worst batch is described as either barnyard. Here's the best: armpit. So I'm wondering if it's like the ambergris that she used, how old it depended on how old it was, like how oxidized it got in, like how fresh out of the whale it became. I don't know.
Ambergris is illegal.
It can be, yeah, and I'm going to talk about that. So in 1908, a fisherman found a piece of ambergris in his lobster traps in Long Island, on the shores of Long Island. Like, he just lucked out. There was a 1 pound piece. He sold it in 1908 for $20,000.
Oh my God.
So the thoughts of how expensive it is really amped up. Now, they could get tons of oil, right, from the sperm. And then, but now this ambergris that they know that they produce really amped up it, because that's even worth more money, like the amounts of money they can have. In 2021, Yemeni fishermen stumbled on a 280-pound chunk in a dead whale's belly, and it sold for $1.5 million. It remains a luxury ingredient in perfumes, and some perfumes still use it to this day. However, it is banned under the Marine Mammal Protection Acts and the Endangered Species Acts. However, the European Union says that it's naturally excreted, so it can be bought and sold. Like that, if you find it, you should be able to buy and sell it. Encourages people to hunt them and kill them and get the product too.
I found it.
Yeah.
Inside a whale that you killed, you asshole. Yeah.
So that's why the U.S. is like, no. Like, perfume companies and things that maybe are in Europe will still use it because it's considered okay to buy and sell, or here it's not. Now in 1940s, they started making synthetic versions of it. And that are used in many perfume companies use it to this day. Like, because first of all, they don't want the risk of being found being, unethically sourced. And they also, the cost, like it's rare and it's super expensive and it's high demand. Now there's a perfumist, perfumer. Her name is or maybe it's a he, I don't know. It's Mandy Aftel is a perfumer.
Perfume?
perfumer.
Perfume?
Perfumer.
But if it comes from the whale's ass, it's definitely Perfume.
Now, and many say this, and she quotes, the raw material, there's nothing that compare to the real thing. The raw material is absolutely magical. The smell is so alluring. You cannot replace it. Like, it's apparently the best smell people have ever smelled. If they get, it's like almost, like you're under a trance when you're around it. There's just people.
Something about
that's why the people were eating it, and that's why people were using it as incense and aphrodesiacs and
the
medicines.
eating thing. It was a pregnant woman.
Probably was.
Probably ate it first because pregnant women tend to eat weird shit like dirt and chalk and non-food
items.
Mm-hmm. I bet it was a pregnant woman that ate it first.
I kind of wanted to smell it, not when it first comes out.
No,
do not want to smell it.
I would smell it. After the fact, sure.
Yeah, like when people stumble upon it on the shores of places. Can you imagine if you found it and
it's like one of those things where it smells so good you're going to want it, but then you're like, I don't want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I don't know, like, if you're eating it, like, obviously the process of whatever it goes through to get to the point where you would use it.
They might actually have it in a museum to smell.
They might.
The Smithsonian should.
Yeah. And, some people find it in their traps and things, like,
they
rare.
Find it washed up on the beach.
Yeah, people do. It's rare. Because sperm whales are not as many anymore because of being hunted. And only 1% of sperm whales it happens to, because typically they puke them out. So
it's like a kidney stone in a human.
Exactly. Like that. It is. Because your body's protecting you. So it's forming a thing around it. And then if they poop, if they can't poop, they die. And if they do get to poop it out, it goes out. But they usually puke out the beaks before they get to their intestines. So it's just a rare thing. But I need to smell it. Like, after, I'm like, I want to smell it. I need to know what it smells like.
Yeah, I
like,
know, really.
The idea of, like, it's like the best thing you've ever, it's like entrancing is kind of fascinating to me. But I've never smelled a real Chanel perfume because I'm not a luxury person.
Mm-mm. Is Chanel still made with it?
I feel like it might be.
It's wicked expensive.
Because I think Chanel isn't made here.
It isn't.
It's a European brand. I don't know. Chanel stuff. Italian? I don't know.
Is she Italian? Coco Chanel? Isn't she Italian?
Sounds Italian.
I think she's Italian.
I know it's European based, so they probably can do it. It's luxury. There's a cocktail, and I'm sure they use a synthetic thing. It's called Moby Dick something. That is they use ambergris in it, but I put it's synthetic because I don't see them. And that was like in New York City. There was like French. Oh, I should know that. Yeah,
First
very
French.
Parisian.
First French. Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure the perfume's still made with it. Google that. Other luxury brands are still used, but it's expensive. And a lot of people that aren't doing luxury are like, I'm not paying. We can't afford that. We can't even keep affordable prices and then use it in our perfume. So, but anyway, that's ambergris. And I knew about ambergris, but I forgot that it was a thing. I knew a little bit about it. I knew it was something to do with whales and it was gross, but I didn't really know the whole process. I didn't know it was such a mystery.
Chanel No. 5 was once rumored to contain ambergris, but given its price point, almost certainly uses synthetic versions today. So.
In the original time, so when perfumes, the one thing, it would stick to your skin and the smell would last longer, but it also added that depth, that smell that you couldn't create.
Let's see here. Some fragrances contain natural ambergris. This is notably the cause of very old fragrances such as Mitsuko by Guerlain, but also more recent perfumes such as Amber Nuit by Dior, Ambre Sultan by Serge Lutens.
So Dior has one that
the one with the amber.
So they're using the word
Ambre. I mean, everything from Dior costs a freaking arm length. So, I mean, you could probably go to a perfume counter and sniff it.
I want to.
Yeah.
But I want to smell just ambergris on its
own.
Go
to the mall, the Destiny Mall.
And smell that one.
Go to one of those
high-end
perfume places.
I'll walk in there and they'll be like, you can't afford anything in here. You're right, I can't. I just want to smell this, please.
Can I smell this?
So, Chanel's using, obviously, synthetic. So that's good. But, that's the thing. Like, if you found it and used it, but how do you know they found it?
When it first came out, she probably did use your light.
Oh, I'm sure, because it was like in the 1977, I think, when the Marine Act was passed. So it was illegal to buy wherever you were. And I don't know. It's kind of gross. I will never try any food made with it.
Never. I wouldn't want to put it on my skin either, though. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Well, and it obviously, once it's gone through the process to the point where it smells good, no one got sick from eating it. So the fecal stuff must have been.
Hey, you can buy that coffee that runs through the intestinal tract of a wild cat in one of those
some country.
Yeah, I don't remember, South America.
Yeah, what is that called?
There's that special coffee that
the cocoa beans come out
digested. It comes out as poop, and you clean it off, and you. I would never eat that.
Oh, I wouldn't either.
Ever.
I wouldn't either.
It's so expensive. I'm like, and it makes the taste so smooth. I'm like, who the hell?
I'll not have
smooth. Through wild cat poop and picked out
How did
coffee
you know
cherries
that to do that?
And they picked it because the cats eat the cherries.
Yes.
And then they digest in this is basically like the
seed.
pit. The coffee bean is the pit of the cherry. And they crap it out in their poop.
Yeah.
I was like, who picks through cat poop?
Cat food doesn't smell
coffee
good.
Is it? Oh, I think this is a coffee bean. Let's roast it. Let's eat it and see what happens.
Like, I get the ambergris thing, because if you found it washed up on the shore and it smelled good, you're gonna like, oh, what is this? It smells so good, and like, because you don't know where it came from. But once you learn where it came, I don't think people are, other than this weird food historian who thought it was a good idea to recreate the ice cream, I don't think people are using it in food anymore. But maybe it's like a delicacy in some cultures, and maybe they do.
Flavored ice cream.
Armpit. I died when I read that. Barnyard or armpit. And I'm like, armpit. I never want to try anything that's armpit. But it was just interesting, like the process of it, and like how they really don't. They're guessing. It's very theorized how it's done, but that's what they feel is where it comes from. It definitely smells like poop, and it's definitely found in the intestines of a sperm whale. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So if you want to learn more about weird things, you should come to InkerCon, because we're going to record live there. August 19th and 20th. I was going to say April. It's not then. It's August 19th and 20th in Clayton, New York. You want to show up for that because it's a really cool thing. It's kind of like Comic-Con for the North Country here in New York. Mm-hmm. And lots of cool other people are going to be there. I should know that by now, but I don't. But you should go.
Yes.
And when we find out that the actual day we're recording, and you want to make sure you're there on that day, make sure you're following us on Facebook and Instagram, because we're going to share on there, but we also share pictures. So I'll be sharing pictures of what Ambergris looks like. So you can see pictures from our episodes if you're following us, and then our episodes get posted there. So you can listen right from there, or you can share it to your friends and help us out that way.
Yeah, and if you'd like to reach out to us, you can send us an email at thecousinsweird@gmail.com. Or you can send us a direct message to Instagram or Facebook, because we're just The Cousins Weird on both of those. And we'd love to hear any stories you might have for us, whether you have spooky stories or alien encounters, anything like that. We want to know. Let us know. Send us your emails.
Have you smelled ambergris? Have you ever tasted it? Like, have you tried it? Let us know. We want to know.
We do.
We won't make fun of you if you eat it.
Not to your face.
Not to your face. If you want to support our podcast, go to patreon.com/thecousinsweird for $1 a month. Become a freaky friend, and you get bonus episodes and a sticker. And for $5 a month, you become a terrible trender. You get bonus episodes, a sticker, a yearly gift, a quarterly chat on Skype with us, and ad-free episodes. And that's fun, because then you can just listen to us talk away and not be interrupted. Fun.
Fun.
That's all I got. All right. Is that all you got?
That's all I got.
All right.
Stay freaky.
Bye.
Bye.